The launch of the report on gender welfare and equity in sports was a milestone for Kenya, and its findings and recommendations set the tone and pace of the deliberations at this conference. The report brought to the fore the challenges facing athletes when they face gender discrimination and violence. However, it also intensified the commitment of all of us participants to combat gender inequality and improve our response to gender-based violence in sports, always taking a victim-centered approach or an athlete-centered approach. We adopted all the recommendations and committed to cooperate in their implementation, both at the individual and institutional levels. The conference was energized by a powerful speech from His Excellency Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, where he not only endorsed the report, but also reassured Kenyans of the government's commitment to end gender-based violence, both in sports and in the greater society. We further appreciated the numerous achievements made by the current government in improving the welfare of athletes and empowering women, which have in a big way contributed towards gender equity. In the plenary sessions, federations made commitments to improve their legal and management frameworks so that they can be more robust in dealing with gender equity. We agreed to be progressive and deliberate in gender issues and shun retrogressive cultures that thrive on tokenism. Towards this objective, therefore, federations and umbrella sports bodies have agreed to include in their working procedures the ministerial directives. 1, no women teams will leave the country for any competition or participate in internal competition without being accompanied by at least 2 women officials, a doctor, a team welfare official. All teams will ensure that the number of women to men officials in keeping with the constitutional threshold of 2/3 gender representation. As a matter of practice, they shall also endeavor to equal the numbers going forward. All sports organizations and federations registered with the ministry shall ensure that women are represented in management and that the constitutional threshold of 2/3 gender representation is upheld. As a matter of practice, we will aim at 50%, as earlier said, for each gender. All federations to ensure that they shall adhere to the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya 2010 and all relevant laws and policy. Particular focus was given to implementation of legal frameworks by federations as stipulated specifically in the Sports Act, in the Sports Policy, the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015, and all other related laws, both local and internationally ratified by Kenya. By establishing and enforcing norms and legal frameworks, federations can promote and sustain the protection of women, men, boys and girls from sexual and gender-based violence in sports. The media also committed to amplify the voices of women not only as victims, but also as sports heroines, to avoid sensational reporting and focus on the sporting prowess of women. Finally, a call to action. Building on the positive momentum created by the various stakeholders in this venue, the participants used the closing day of the conference to reaffirm and build better for the future. We further appreciated that gender inequality and an unequal distribution of power between women and men are root causes of gender-based violence in sports, since they place individuals, particularly women and girls, at high risk. This conference calls for a deliberate and effective strategic action in 1, prioritization of the mental health of athletes. We call upon all federations and sports organizations to prioritize the mental health of athletes and create sustainable structures that provide psychological support for athletes and other officials in need. Secondly, women in sports leadership. We call upon all federations and sports bodies to continue the upward trajectory of providing more leadership capacity training to women to prepare them for governance and decision-making roles. Third, create homegrown solutions against gender-based violence. We call upon all federations and sports organizations to promote usage of homegrown solutions that are inclusive and sustainable in the context of the athlete or affected official. Fourth, harnessing the power of technology. We call upon all federations and sports organizations to put in place the requisite governance structures that harness the power of technology for innovating and advancing gender equality to bridge the gender technology gap and accelerate attainment of gender equity. Equity in funding. We call upon all federations and sports organizations to ensure funding is equitable in a manner that promotes and encourages development of sport for both men and women. Finally, better investigation for successful prosecution. We call upon the law enforcing agencies and all caregivers to be more diligent in their work so that all reported cases of gender-based violence end in successful prosecution. Thank you very much. That's the communique from the conference. Thank you.
Let's give Prof a round of applause. So yesterday, remember the cabinet secretary spoke about scholarship ambazo they're worth, you know. So here's the funny thing about sisi wa Kenya. Tukisikia 100,000, hata kama imesema $100,000, it sounds like 100,000 shillings. Seriously, you know, so 100,000, because, you know, but it's actually, if you translate to Kenya shillings, it's 10 million. Scholarships, what, per person? Wow. So the individuals or the organization that has provided this scholarship are called, let me get that name, Thunderbird School of Management. The Director General and Dean is called Dr. Sanjeev Gahram, and he will speak about the scholarship and more. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sanjeev Gahram.
Hello, dear friends. This is Dr. Sanjeev Kavram, CEO, Director General, and Dean of the Thunderbird School of Global Management. Our vision is a world of sustainable and equitable prosperity and peace, and our mission is to train and empower and influence global leaders, managers, and professionals, entrepreneurs for the fourth industrial revolution. Since our founding 75 years ago, we have believed that the world can come together in our famous motto, borders frequented by trade and diplomacy seldom need soldiers. Our partnership with Kenya and the continent of Africa is deep and enduring. As you all know, I was born in Uganda. My motherland is Kenya. My mother and her family are from Kitale. We still have family in Kenya. I love Kenya. I want to acknowledge His Excellency President Kenyatta and Her Excellency Ambassador Amina Mohammed, Minister for Culture, Sports, and Heritage, on the convening of the Agnes Tirop conference, recognizing the challenge of women in sports, including especially the horrific amount of gender violence that is experienced. The Thunderbird School is committed to global equity and prosperity, but also to ensuring the respect and rights of all people, opposing all forms of corruption and exploitation, and ensuring that there is integrity in all that we do. Our contribution and commitment to this initiative is to open up our Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp and provide full scholarship to sportswomen and men under your leadership. As the leading school in global leadership and management for the fourth industrial revolution, we are committed to work with the ministry to build the business of sports, entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, developing a course on global leadership, entrepreneurship, innovation, on sports management, and professionalism. On Thursday, January 20th, just in a short time, we will be announcing the largest and most ambitious initiative in global educational history, the first of its kind. And its main focus will be to empower women all around the world and particularly in Africa, and even more specifically in Kenya. All of our work emanates from our incredible Center of Excellence in Nairobi, Kenya, and our work across the continent that emanates from there, thanks to the incredible leadership of our Senior Director for Africa, Philip Tigo, and our Academic Director, Professor Monica Koretz Macau. We are grateful to His Presidency, Kenyatta, and to Her Excellency Amina Mohammed for accepting the role as a global champion for our new global initiative we're launching on January 20th, 2022. Let me end by again hoping and wishing and praying that everyone is healthy, safe, and in the best of hopes and spirits. We believe by bringing the world together that the future can be and should be incredibly bright. This is not only the decade of action, but the decade of delivery, and we're proud to be partners with the government and people of Kenya, my homeland. Thank you so much.
We can do better than that. Makofi, tafadhali. Wow. So next time you sit and say, "Ai inchi nataka kuhama inchi, nataka kwenda inchi ingine," and then you miss on all these goodies. I want to hand over now the program to my fellow moderator, Pinky Gilani, to come and take us through the next session. Pinky?
Thank you, Jimmy. Good afternoon. I'm assuming we're in the afternoon. Am I right? Not yet? Someone saying yes? Okay. I'll take it back. Good morning, Madam C.S. Kobia, Madam C.S. Amina Mohammed, our Nike representatives who have traveled, welcome. And of course, to our athletes, ladies and gentlemen, what a phenomenal 3 days it has been. We have made history. I said this before. It has been amazing. There's been lots of conversations, and that was the idea over here, to have these conversations, to make sure we start somewhere. They say the first journey, of course, of 1,000 miles begins with that first step. But I'd just like to say again, and I got this from speaking to so many people yesterday, that what C.S. Amina Mohammed has done is extremely phenomenal, groundbreaking. And exactly, we just need to recognize it again. What you have done, Madame, is just amazing. And we thank you. Kenya thanks you. The world thanks you. Please, a round of applause. One of the conversations that stood out yesterday was the mental health conversation that I happened to moderate, and was lucky enough to get Catherine Dereba to speak to me. And she ended, and we concluded the conversation by saying, you have to have the courage to cry. A lot of us don't recognize that. We think that it is a weakness to cry. Whether you are a man or a woman, you must have the courage to cry. And I think what we've heard here today is mental health is a priority. The other thing that we've heard today is that we cannot just talk the talk. We need to walk the talk. We need to continue the conversation. We need to be able to implement and put into action. They always say that well done is better than well said. So we put that challenge upon you, that let it not just end here. Let us continue the conversation. And I look at my moderators first. Churchill, you have a huge following. It's up to you. You came in, you got involved in this, you're passionate about this. GBV is huge, and I ask you personally to continue the conversation. Jimmy, as well. Jimmy, you must continue this conversation in your space, in your place. Rahma, Julie, and of course, everybody who's here. We must make sure that this conversation does not end here. It now gives me great privilege and an honor to invite on stage to close the conference a person who, like I said before, has become a mentor to so many women, a hero from this conference, Please put your hands together for the CS Ambassador Amina Mohammed.
Thank you very, very much. Catherine Dereba, can you please come up? Where's Catherine? Okay, so I hope one of you will ask her to come in. I'd like her to actually sit up here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have a number of people that I have to recognize, and who it gives me really great pleasure to recognize this morning. Let me begin with my colleague, my sister, my friend, and somebody who actually taught me about public service at one point. My colleague, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, for Gender, and for Social Welfare. Margaret, before I call you up, I will have an opportunity to actually introduce you properly, because you have done so much for so long, for so many, that it's important that everybody actually understands the role that you play in our government, but also to know that you are here to represent the rest of our cabinet. And so I am really, really grateful to you. Ladies and gentlemen, amongst us today we have a person that has traveled very, very, very many thousands of miles to be here with us. Tanya, thank you very much for being here. And she's already been introduced. She's Vice President of Nike, and we're truly, truly happy that you are here. Rob is a friend of all of us, and it's always wonderful to see Rob. Welcome to Diani. I understand you haven't been here before. So I'm happy that I can introduce you at least to one small part of my country. So thank you very much for being here. President Tuwe, President Tergat, the Secretary Generals, new and old, who are here with us, CEOs. We have Ambassador Wanjohi, who is here. Thank you for coming, Ambassador. We also have a representative of Governor Joho from Mombasa County, Innocent Mugabe, asante sana. Our Chief Administrative Secretary, Chebi Kilimo, asante sana. And we had many envoys here, and I know that the Nigerian High Commissioner and the Zambian High Commissioner are still here. So, Madam High Commissioner, thank you for being here. And let me also thank the Nigerian High Commissioner, the Nigerian Mission, for being here with us. Now, we've had some amazing moderators. Oh my goodness. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you, Galani, Jimmy, Churchill, and Julie, and Rehema. You have done an amazing, amazing job. You've kept all of us awake and dancing most of the time. but also extremely serious in addressing the issues that are before us. We have the parents of our legend, the legend that we unfortunately lost, Agnes Tirop. Mr. and Mrs. Tirop, can you please stand up? Thank you very much. Thank you. When I went to their home a few months ago, I told them that we promised that we would not forget Agnes, and that she's going to be our inspiration for everything that we do, to just correct the iniquities that exist. And so I was really happy to see them here with us. They've stayed with us for the 3 days. They've been active participants at the conference, and hopefully together with them we can help many other young women do much better. So ladies and gentlemen, but the most important people that we had here are our athletes. They're our ambassadors, they're our envoys. We're very, very proud of them. They inspire us, they encourage us, and they make this country shine. So let's appreciate them. And, I have spoken for so long at the beginning of the conference. And I have also had an opportunity to, talk to many of you during the last 3 days to just understand the pain that we all share, but also the opportunities that we can explore and exploit together. There are so many things that we can do. There's so much that we can do quickly, in order to just show that we're changing and that we're improving and that we have agreed, all of us together, to start a journey of gender equity in sports and hopefully, across the board. Because, these issues are cross-cutting. They don't just happen in sports. They also don't just happen in one space, not in one country. I mean, there are tales that are just as terrible as ours in all countries across the world. And I think we should really be excited about beginning this journey for the rest of the world. And I hope and pray that everywhere we go, we'll be talking about the conference that happened in Kwale County, in Diani, a conference at which we started honestly, frankly, candidly talking to each other, but also agreeing on a roadmap into the future. And so ladies and gentlemen, this conference is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It has created a benchmark that I hope others will use as a standard to measure what they do. And it was inspired by things that happened before Agnes passed away, right? What she did is make it much more urgent, because we decided then that we cannot lose any more lives and that we need to save our young men and women. This country needs your energy. This country needs your passion. It needs your creativity. It needs you to be alive to make your contribution to our nation building. And so we don't want to let you go. We won't let you go. We will do what we can. Fortunately for us, there are many that want to join us and to support you and create safe spaces where we can continue this conversation. There are those that will help us put in place tools. And one has already contacted Mheshimiwa Chebi this morning and has been put in contact with me, who's ready to create a tool, an app, for young women and men to use, to talk to us, to have a conversation. So at this conference in the last 3 days, we have mourned Agnes, but we have also celebrated what she stood for. We have agreed that she's going to be our standard bearer, that we will do and emulate what she did in life. And we will not allow anybody to do what they did to Agnes to anybody else, to any of our other athletes. And so we celebrate today all of you, great Kenyans who have done wonderful things for their country, who have contributed. And we all talk about how many times our national anthem is sung. But before it's sung, there's the passion, there's the sacrifice, there's the tears. There are all those very interesting sessions of physiotherapy. And I've been to some of them and seen athletes cry as they go through them. And yet they still go out there and run. And that's what we want to emulate, that spirit, that indomitable spirit. That through all the pain, you still want to do what you do best. Now, in this room, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Madam Minister, we have all levels of sports leadership in our country. And you know that we are a sports powerhouse. We actually together hold more track and road races world records than any other country in the world. And you know, it's thanks to these young people who are seated here. It's thanks to His Excellency, our President, who put in place a sports fund that has allowed us to support them, to make sure that they travel in comfort, that they're appropriately geared. And it's thanks to Nike, who has worked with the athletes of our country for a very long period of time. And we are all looking forward to many, many, many more years, Tanya, of collaboration, of sponsorship, of partnership, of friendship, and of working together. And so we're really grateful that you came. And therefore, we owe our great country, we also owe the world at large, a safe and an equitable sports ecosystem. And I think Catherine Dereba, I hope she's in the room now. Oh, there you go. Catherine told us that silence no more, right? The time is now. And she told us to act. Now, I had some few words that I wanted to say to Catherine. And the first thing I wanted to tell Catherine is that all of us in this room are really grateful to her for leading the team, for being positive in a very negative situation. And you know, being positive in a negative situation is not naive. It's great leadership. So thank you, Catherine. You know, Catherine doesn't have any, you know, she has some authority in the prison service, but really not much more than that. But what she really brings to the table is influence, which is much more powerful than authority. Yeah? So, Catherine, you're a leader because you empower everybody else around you. And you talk about the pain of everybody else around you. And you cry about the pain of everybody else around you. We are really grateful to you. And I needed Catherine to come up here so that she knows that she truly will always be a Kenyan and a global hero. But you know, Catherine, being called a leader is not an end in itself. Huh? You will still need to earn it every single day. And we will expect you to earn it every single day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to talk much more than that. I will just tell you that we have all made a pledge with the leadership of the federations. And correct me if I'm wrong, or at least if anybody has the courage to do that. We've agreed that we're all going to meet again in 100 days' time. And that at that time we will take stock of where we are, of how many of the recommendations that Catherine and her colleagues gave us have been implemented or are being implemented. We've also agreed that that meeting in 100 times will prepare us for a complete review in 6 months, because we truly don't have much time. We have urgent issues to address. And I want us to do it together because we've agreed that we all own the problem. We own the challenge, but we also own the opportunities, and we move together. So I'll end by saying the following, that attaining gender equity in sports is a precondition for leveling the playing field and advancing inclusivity in the sports industry. I truly want to thank each and every one of you. I could not have imagined a more successful conference. You have made it the most successful conference that we've had on inclusivity in sports that was ever held. So asanteni sana. Niko na huzuni kwa mambo ambayo yametendeka mbeleni, lakini leo niko na furaha kwa vile sasa tunajua kwenye tunaenda. Si kweli? Tumekubaliana? Tunajua hiyo njia ambayo tutafuata mpaka tufike mwisho, mpaka kila mtu ajisikie ya kwamba anapendwa, ya kwamba tunamsikiza na tunamsaidia. Na tumekubaliana pia ya kwamba baada ya siku 100 tunakutana tena. Alafu mtuambie vile mmetuambia hizi siku 3. Kama tumefanya vyema, kama bado tuko na matatizo mengi, na vile mnataka tuendeleze hii kazi. Hii ni kazi yenu, hiyo si kazi yetu. Sisi tunataka tuwasaidie ndio muwe the best that you can ever be. Asanteni sana. Mimi nawapenda sana. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me so much pleasure. And it's such a wonderful